Hi, this is Paul. I just wanted to put out a general announcement that I'm restarting the Sacramento Estuary. Of course, we had the Sacramento Jordan Peterson meetup, which met for a number of years, and those guys really formed sort of a friend group, and they've continued to meet all the way through the pandemic. And then we've done some meetings at church, but we've sort of been quiet about it. And I wanted to refresh the group as it was. It doesn't really replace the other group because the other group still goes, and most of the people in this picture are from the other group. But I wanted to start much more of a formal estuary group here in Sacramento. And it's going to meet at least monthly. That's my plan right now. And our first meeting is next Thursday night, October 20, here in Sacramento. So if you're in the region and you want to come and I'm going to follow the estuary protocol pretty strictly in terms of, and I actually outline it in terms of the proceedings for the night. We sort of go around the circle 4 times and then we have our conversation. And those of you who had a chance to experience it in England and the Netherlands and Germany and Canada, and those of you who are participating in all different places, you pretty much know how it's done. But Josiah Gorder does have another group in Folsom. And so for those of you who live more up in the foothills and want a different group, Josiah's got a group that's been meeting up in Folsom. Josiah Gorder was working with City Life Church, which meets more in our area, and he just recently took the call to our Folsom congregation. And so he's doing his estuary group in that region, I think. Josiah can correct me if I'm wrong. But if you're interested, I'll put the link below for the Sacramento Estuary group, and you can find it here. I also wanted to mention that James from Florida, who has his own channel, I never quite know how to say his Curtides, he just put an announcement on his page too that he has started working with ElseNet, the Estuary Leadership Support Network that I've talked about before, that John Van Donk runs that. And so he's launching an estuary group in Florida. And so what I'm simply going to do is append his video at the end of this video, just so I can give it a little bit more broadcast. And I will put the links to both his video and also to his let's see if he's got a, I don't know if he's, it doesn't seem to be a link to his group there, but I'll put a link to his page so you can contact him. And if you're in Florida and would like to join a group, go there. There's also estuaryhub.com, which is the website for the estuary movement, and you can see there on the website, you can find an estuary near you. You can find an estuary leader who's perhaps trying to pull a group together but hasn't managed to sort of get critical mass to do that. You can sign up to be a leader, to participate in the leadership training process, which is what John Van Donk runs, or you can sign up for updates. And a few of the videos that I've had on my channel are there, and I'll put the link below to this. So again, if you're in Central California, Thursday evening, October 20, and you want to participate in the Sacramento Estuary, the link is below.
The Peterson-Peugeot-Paul pipeline, aka the estuary. What is the estuary? The estuary is a group set up by those that are associated with Paul Vanderklay, and he is involved as well, that is setting up and has set up meetup groups and meet space in different cities around the world for people that have these types of conversations on this little corner of the internet via digital medium can actually have these conversations in dialogos in person, right? So the estuary technically is a place where fresh water and salt water converge. So the idea it is people that are both inside of the church and people that are exiting the church and people that are interested in the church of Christianity that are mixing and having conversations about everyday topics that affect all of our lives. And I found it compelling where I signed up to lead an estuary group here in Central Florida. I'll link to the website so you can check if there's an estuary set up for at where you live. But the idea is to meet once a month and have a conversation in line with what we talk about here. It doesn't necessarily have to be philosophically high-minded. It can traverse a range of topics. I had my first meeting with the Estuary group, this leadership meeting, and I really enjoyed it. And listening to people's stories and how they found themselves, in the Estuary group, it occurred to me that there's this Peterson, Peugeot, Paul pipeline, right, where people's story usually, obviously there are differences of people, how they found their way back into considering Christianity again, whether it was Jordan Peterson's psychological videos on the significance of biblical stories. I think that's the big kind of attractor that pulled people in, especially intellectually curious and scientific-minded people, back into the fold to start looking at something like the ancient Christian religion with new eyes. And I think we've also seen the emergence of the psychedelic culture, where people's preconceived notions of material reality are crumbling, and there's a vacuum there that is left, that is being filled in by all different types of ideologies or programs or ways of thinking or egregores or what have you. So I like the idea of the estuary, and I hope that it continues to grow, and I hope that we get a good group of people that are interested in engaging. So again, I'll send a link to, I'll have a link at the bottom of this video if you are interested. When a little bit on my experience when my first meeting, there was different people from different walks of life that were really real with each other in terms of the conversations, the dialogue that was being presented, right? Immediately we started talking about personal issues and challenges that they don't have to be negative either, just personal challenges that brought us into this space to be with each other. And then, what's happening in, your kind of local environment. What are some intellectual curiosities that you've been interested in lately? And just having a conversation using a lot of the framing that is afforded to us through the work of Jordan Peterson, Jonathan Peugeot, and through Paul Vanderklay as well. I see Paul as a sort of metabolizer of these ideas, of these concepts that come into us from these different thinkers, and they need to be metabolized, need to be broken down so they can be digested by more and more people. And it's not to indoctrinate, but it's to just share information and generate dialogue and dialogos. And I find it very interesting that this is happening, and all these kind of forces and converging when we look at something like John Vervaeke and his cognitive behavioral cognitive science background, really engaging with Jonathan Peugeot, and then finding so much common ground and mapping their linguistic frames with each other and resonating and creating a great dialogue. I just watched their conversation and dialogos at the Thunder Bay conference, which I found fascinating and excellent. I really highly recommend that. And I liked all of the videos. I've watched pretty much, I'd say most of them that came out from the Thunder Bay conference, and I enjoyed them very much. I think it is the continuation of what's been, started in the mid 2010s, right? 2016, 2017. Now it's moving more into, it's changing and morphing into something more inclusive. I know that's not the best word, but more spread out, and more interest, genuine interest is being generated for these conversations. And I think it's no better time than now. So yeah, I think the idea is, and I'm hoping to see something like we saw at the Thunder Bay conference happening more and more in different parts of the country, and just more of these types of events being put on. I'm not sure if they are, what that would look like. But I could potentially see this estuary program really take off. And then if there are large groups of folks that are getting together and discussing this idea, I don't see why, maybe a conference can be put up in a particular region or a particular area, and there could be these speakers like we saw at Thunder Bay come and speak and engage with people and audiences in different parts of the country or the world even. I know Paul was over in the Netherlands and I think Germany and a few other places. So I think it's interesting, and I'm interested to kind of see how it goes. But if you, I'm interested to hear how you found this channel, how you found this content, and if you are part of the Peterson Peugeot Paul pipeline. I would say that a good number of my subscribers would fall right in line with that, and I think a good number of my subscribers probably don't even know what that means. I have an interesting group of folks with a wide-ranging kind of background that I engage with. So, but anyways, just wanted to introduce this this program here. I'm going to link in the description. If you're interested, feel free to message me if you want more information, and I hope to see you soon.